Welcome back to This Day. Joining me now is Carol and Lee with the Old Pros. Welcome. It's so nice to see you again, Carol, and Lee, so nice to meet you. Pleasure to have you on today. So tell me about the Old Pros. What is the purpose of this club?
The purpose of the club is to involve as many people as possible in the fun of acting. And we try to bring in people of all different levels. We're fortunate, I think, in the village in having a remarkable store of talent. And the question is coaxing them out of their cubby holes to come in. And fortunately, we do get some superb ones. And so we get the beginners who have always thought they would love to do some acting, but they're scared and they don't know, and they know they're going to freeze on stage, and all of this, all the fears. And we soothe them down and tell them, you know, it's all human, and we're all quite happy and quite alive, and we're working very well together. And the point is, we're working together. And that's what...
It's definitely a team.
It's a team thing.
Yeah.
That's so very much so.
I love that.
You know, that's funny because I'm thinking of one of our male actors and it's always difficult to bring in more male actors because the ratio here in the village is, I think, 3 to 1, 3 females for every male. And he started out almost tongue-tied in his first part, and now this gentleman, I mean, he just is in show after show and just an absolute delight every time.
Isn't that interesting? That's
never
wonderful.
know what you can find until you start looking for it.
Right. And just getting comfortable too, and growing by taking that step, that leap of faith, and to try it.
Very much so, and what we're trying to introduce with what we're coming up with in our next program is on improv, on improvisation.
Yes.
And in that is another aspect of the acting. In fact, one person, was Stephen Colbert, said, you know, it actually, improvisation breaks all the rules of acting. Carol disagreed.
Yes, I feel that it's one of the tools that you can use in acting.
It is indeed.
But
what it is, it develops assurance. As you do more of it, and as you realize that you have people that are supporting you, and that the rule of improvisation is make the other person look good.
Oh, really? That's very interesting. I had not thought to think of it that way.
Oh, it's remarkable. And what they do with it, all the different ways, but one of the things that to me was, everybody comes into the theater, not everybody, but those that are very new to it will come in thinking, this is something, you know, serious, and I've got to be good. Not realizing that they already are good, and but they just don't know where it is. So what happens is that they begin by being forced. Oh, I'm going off track. And what I need to make is that what we're trying to do with this is to introduce play. Now, adults don't they play tennis, they play bridge, but they don't play silly.
Oh, okay.
And silly is a tremendous part of improvisation, is the willingness to be ridiculous. But the other person's ridiculous too. So between the two of you, you've made a magnificent, if crazy, flower.
I have to interrupt for a minute because I was sitting there while you and Chris were going back and forth with one of these play sillies, and just cracking up. I mean, the two of them get going, and this is the delight of improv, is it frees you up. And as an actor, there's nothing better than to be free, because the more free you are, the more creative you become.
And also the more natural it comes across to the audience as well.
Additionally, your brain starts to work a lot faster. Doing a lot of improv increases your ability to think quickly, but not necessarily to think about thinking. It's reacting. And in the reaction, because sometimes on stage, your partner freezes. And to get the look of horror in their eyes. And then you're the one that has to feed them or do something to open it up for them.
Yeah, kind of break through that wall.
break
That all of a
through it,
sudden, my
yeah.
mind just went blank. I'm
Yes.
not thinking of anything, and oh God, everyone's staring out at me. What do I do?
You know what's interesting? That there's a wonderful thing on TV now that's been renewed. In fact, it's the great example of reincarnation I've ever seen. It's called Whose Line Is It Anyway? It started back in 1997. It did a period, and then it got dropped. And then it got picked up again, and then it got dropped. And this happened, and they now are doing it in 2023 with several of the original players.
Oh.
Wasn't that Drew Carey that started that?
Drew Carey was one of them. He was one of the consistent ones. He played, you can find them. The wonderful thing about that particular show is that you can call it up on YouTube. You can call up some of the prize ones on YouTube. So anyway,
That's wonderful. And you had also mentioned, I think I saw something about there was, have you seen, it was like 100 plus or something like that? Was that a show in the notes that we talked about that was sent over? No. Okay.
no, but
Getting the interviews
well,
next up, but that's
on
okay.
to the next topic.
What has been the joy for you in being part of with the Old Pros?
it's the people.
Yeah.
It's always the people. It's never the scripts are nice. The instruction is, but primarily it's working with a group of people who enjoy doing something different, who enjoy exploring, and that's the beauty of it. So.
And we want to talk about the night that you guys are have the improv night that's coming up. Tell me about this. What's going to happen for this show?
Well, what we're hoping to do, and again, it's an improv starting right now on the thing. So, it's what we want to do is to introduce people to the different ways improv can be played. For example, we'll have a paper bag with a whole number of situations in it. And we pull a situation, and the individuals, we hope to have volunteers who will come up who will realize this will be fun. To be a situation and a character, and two people will go at it then. Then you'll start, somebody will, for example, one of the great ones is done by Second City people, a Second City skit that they had is, and Tina Fey started it out was given a word. And then she had to riff on it. She had to come up with all the ways that word was used. And she had a cast of about 15 people around her. And then someone came up, tapped her on the shoulder, and started off with it, setting up a different scene. And some of them involved 3 people, 2 people, 1 person. But it went on for 45 minutes on the same thing.
Wow. Very creative.
Yes.
Highly.
And it's a wonderful exercise for anybody who loves to act because it really opens you up. You just have to. You're forced to do something. And the minute your brain gets out of the way and the reactions start coming in, that's again where the creativity starts flowing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And what they don't realize is that an ordinary response to a crazy thing can be absolutely ridiculous and funny and laughable.
And happy.
It's happy. The point is, it's happy. And when they realize that they got the laughs, wow, what it does for them.
Then that feels really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels really good.
So now people coming to this program to come watch this night. So you're hoping that some people in the audience will be a part of it and join in, but you don't necessarily have to. It's also a fun evening.
Absolutely not. But
But if you
try
think-
it, you'll like it.
But if you think maybe you might be interested, maybe sit towards the front.
Exactly. And we have some people out in the audience who hope we'll do it. We might just, tap someone to be in it and have.
And that's true too, because sometimes you sit there and you're like, oh, I want to, I just
Exactly.
can't, I want to, but I'm not doing it. And then somebody says, go do it. And then like the next thing you know, you're like, wow, that was such a blast. I'm so glad
I did it.
I'm so glad I stepped out of my comfort zone to go do it.
The other thing about our group is that when people are working up there, the audience really supports them. There's an energy that's generated that is, you drink it. It is so good. The other thing about it is it develops an assurance in the individual that they're not stupid, that they're actually as good as everyone else, and even maybe better.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing to overcome, is getting out of your own head and thinking everybody's so good, I can't do this, but actually you can. Well, thank you, lady. We're out of time, but thank you so much for coming on and to tell us about this. It sounds fascinating, and I'm sure it'll be a great night. Just to recap, the Old Pros present Improv Night on Wednesday, September 20th in Clubhouse 7. Doors open at 6:30, and the show starts at 7 p.m. Members are free, non-members are $5. Any questions or to get involved, email the Old Pros at ocoldpros@gmail.com. Don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break is Wellness in the Woods.